When you think about 2000s R&B, if Rain and Leather doesn't pop in your head, it's not 2000s R&B. Like it's what happened when church kids rebel.
What's up, everyone? I'm Haley Tharp, and I'm here at the Gibson Showroom with Kenyon Dixon. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thank you for being here.
You just got finished debuting your album, the R&B You Love.
Yes.
At your album listening party, the crowd was bringing the energy. You were bringing the energy. How are you feeling right now?
Incredible feeling. It's always unmatched. You know, 'cause when you're creating art, you don't get the energy back in real time that you put into it. So to be here tonight before the album is even out, I feel like that kind of check some stuff off of the list to be able to feel that energy in like real time and see people enjoying this art that I've created like in solitude. You know what I mean? So I feel good about it.
That's interesting that you say that, because you mentioned when you were on stage like that you had created this in the house and you wanted that feeling to be here. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so I cut everything at home. Literally, it's me by myself. Wow. And for the first time ever working on an album, the different creatives that I worked with on the production side, I brought us all together for like a week, and we were able to just put our ears on everything collectively to create a consistency, because I had worked with everybody at different times, but I cut everything at the house. And so it's a comfortable space for me. So when I'm in front of like crowds of people, I always try and find what feels like home. And so for me, playing this music, we've been doing like a lot of playbacks prior to the album coming out. And so we had to go to a lot of different DSPs and like play it. And I'm always playing it on my phone. So now that I was in front of all these people, I was like, I still want to have that, because I remember, I'm like, I remember how I felt when I just plugged my phone in and played, like that, the intimacy of that. So I just wanted to sit on stage by myself and play it and pretend that I was just back in a small room and was just enjoying the music myself. So
I love that. That definitely came through in this album listening party and how you were performing. I know you mentioned that 2000s R&B is one of your favorite tracks off the project. You also teased on social media the music video, and you're dancing in the rain, like a downpour. Tell me about that. Why? How did you channel that? Where did that come from?
I mean, when you think about 2000s R&B, if Rain and Leather doesn't pop in your head, it's not 2000s R&B. Like, so that for me was really just tapping into. I said, how can I make the most 2000s R&B record in 2023? And so I listened to like Ray J and Case and Usher Confessions album. Like I listened to all my favorites from the early 2000s. And when I started looking at visuals, I realized they all had something in common, which was leather and rain. And so I was like, the visual, I wanted really to just, be that. And you know, a lot of R&B fans, they tease online about it. R&B is not, it's not R&B unless you're singing in the rain. And I was like, I'm a troll a little bit.
Like, I gotta do that.
Yeah, I was like, let me troll, but also making some good art. So I got RL to join me on this song, who is insane. I mean, you can't talk 90s or early 2000s R&B without mentioning RL next, you know what I mean? So love to him for being so open to collaborating. Like, I sent it to him, and within 24 hours, like, he sent me something back. And you don't get that all the time. And so what I loved about that was the validation of the energy of tapping into the era, because a lot of artists today, we don't work like that. Like, we take our time, and like from that era, what that showed me is that like when it hits you and what you feel, you just go for it. So even though he thought it would take longer, he sent what he felt, and that was already it. You know what I mean? And so I thought that was really cool, because that was like my piece of experiencing early 2000s R&B, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really excited about that one.
When I spoke with you earlier, you had mentioned, and you said it so eloquently, but you had mentioned your church upbringing and how that influences your sound and your voice. You also mentioned that music was kind of a form of rebellion. I forget the actual word you used, but tell me more about that.
Yeah, so like growing up in the church, my parents were ministers. Like, I'm born and raised in the church, and so R&B doesn't exist in the household growing up. I got in trouble for listening to R&B, watching music videos, you know what I mean? And so I'm a firm believer in that the soul in R&B music really comes from the church experience, you know what I mean? And like the classic church experience, because modern church is a little different, but I think the essence of just that, corporatism and getting together, like there's a spirit in that I think travels throughout the music. And so a lot of amazing R&B singers and musicians, they all come from the church. And so again, not being able to listen to secular music, it really is like a form of rebellion, because it's like, well, this is the closest thing to church music, but I don't want to do gospel. So it's like, I'm going to go ahead and just bring it into the second best place that is accepted. You know what I mean? So yeah, it really does feel like validated rebellion, because it's like, you can't deny the music. You know what I mean? The soul and the power is there in the R&B records. You know what I mean? It's the same. Yeah, I love it. So I think I made the right decision.
I love that, validated rebellion. That was the phrase I was looking for. My last question for you, and it might be a loaded question, but how do you define R&B? What defines R&B for you?
There's so many different elements. I mean, obviously rhythm, and blues. I mean, blues is really a form of expression. Blues is all about connectivity and just really being, being vulnerable. But also when it comes to R&B, the feeling is a huge part of it. Being able to tap into the different feelings. The lyrics matter. The stories matter. Yeah. The conviction in your voice matters. The production matters. The marriage between the production and the music matters, because that's what you never want to go against what the music is doing. And so, it's R&B is really just it's what happened when church kids rebel. I think that's really the best way to explain it.
I love that. Thank you so much for meeting with me, but thank you so much for letting me do this a second time.
Of course.
And I love the album. The energy you bring is amazing, and I'm so excited to see what else you do.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.